Episode 394. Same CV generated by AI, different outcome.
The primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
A new study has found that when reviewers were shown two identical CVs, both generated by AI, with only the candidate's name changed from James to Emily, Emily's CV was 22% more likely to trigger doubts about whether she could be trusted. And it was twice as likely to raise doubts about her competence and her ability to do the job. Hello, and you're very welcome back to AI6. I'm Joanne Sweeney on a mission to upskill 500,000 people in AI in just 6 minutes a day. This study was carried out by Zira Chatu, a former Meta strategist and the founder of a think tank called Code for Good Now. She generated two CVs using AI. The content was word for word identical. The only difference was the name at the top. One CV was for a candidate called James Clark. The other was for Emily Clark. The CVs were then distributed to two groups of reviewers, 1,000 British adults in total. Both groups were told the CVs had been created with the help of AI. And the results were reported by Fortune last week, and they are remarkable. James's CV got a 97% approval rating. Emily's CV, the exact same CV, the same qualifications, the same AI-generated content, was rated strong by only 76% of respondents. Reviewers were 22% more likely to question whether Emily could be trusted. Her CV was twice as likely to raise doubts about her competence and her ability to do her job. Some of the written feedback gives you a flavour of what's going on. One reviewer wrote about Emily, "She can't even write a CV herself. Not sure she has the skills to carry out the job." James got a different response. One reviewer wrote, "He just needed a bit of help putting it together." Chatu summed it up in one line. When men use AI, we question their effort. When women use AI, we question their integrity. Gen Z men, the cohort who have grown up with AI, were the harshest critics of Emily's CV. They were 3.5 times more likely than other respondents to describe her CV as weak. But this is a human bias problem. The AI did not write a weaker CV. It wrote the same CV. The bias came from the people reading it. Now, let's not make an assumption that AI itself is neutral. A peer-reviewed Brookings Institution study published in April last year looked at what happens when AI itself does the screening. Researchers Kira Wilson and Alan Kalaskan tested large language models on more than 500 CVs across 9 occupations, with names signalling different gender and racial identities. They ran 27 different tests for gender bias. Men and women were selected at equal rates in only 37% of those tests. In the rest, resumes with men's names were favoured 51.9% of the time. Women's names were favoured just 11.1% of the time. The most severe discrimination was against black men, who were selected 0% of the time when compared with white men's resumes. So this is a very uncomfortable finding. Humans are bringing bias to AI-assisted hiring in systems that already have inherent bias. A Cardozo Law Review article by Laurie Andrews and Hannah Butcher offers part of the answer to the big problem. Women are socialised to use different language patterns at work. Linguistics professor Deborah Tannen has shown that women are more likely to use we when describing a project. Men are more likely to use I and active verbs like executed or captured. Amazon's failed recruitment AI is a great example from 2018, when they found that their recruitment tool, designed with AI, learned to favour those male-coded verbs. So when women were filtered out for how they wrote, So women were filtered out for how they wrote, not for what they could do. So if you're a woman using AI to draft your CV, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile, the work may be judged more harshly than the same work from a male colleague. That's not your problem to solve. It's a bias problem in the people reading it. But it's useful to know it exists. If you're a hiring manager, you have to be able to claim fair process if you haven't audited it. Did you know that New York City has had an AI hiring audit law since 2023? Colorado has one that's going to take effect this year. And outside those two jurisdictions, in the US at least, almost no one is being asked to prove their hiring AI is not discriminating. So closing the AI adoption gap is not just about teaching more women to use AI, as I spoke about in the last episode of AI6. It's also about changing how AI use is evaluated by humans, but also by the bots. That's it for today's show. If you're ready to turn these insights into skills, here's how I can help. Get your copy of my book, AI Playbook, on Amazon. It's the perfect companion to the show. For weekly AI strategies, subscribe to my newsletter, Human in the Loop, on LinkedIn. Or if you want to take the next big step, you can take our CPD accredited professional diploma in AI. Maybe you need something more tailored for your organisation. You can book a call in my calendar at digitaltraining.ie. Or if you work in government or public sector, go over to publicsectormarketingpros.com. If you found this episode useful, please share it with a pro that you know. And I'd love to read your comments on Spotify. And if you can, take a second to like, rate, or subscribe wherever you listen. It really helps the show. This is AI6. I'll talk to you on the next episode.